After the Wildling, we have to talk about his shielded brother in arms, the Oathsworn. In comparison to the Wildling, the Oathsworn aims to be less of a skirmisher and more of your typical line holder and projectiles tank. To do this effectively, this unit needs a good sidearm, decent armor, and a big shield. I'm going to address the major problem with this unit immediately, and that is the troop line. Differently from the Wildling, the Oathsworn line doesn't specialize in throwables, exception made for the clan warrior at tier 2, who brings one set of daggers. So if you're building an army that uses throwables as a winning strategy, you might want to stay away from this unit entirely. But if you don't and you decide to go for the Oathsworn anyway, they're going to bring one set of island throwing axes. They deal a respectable 74 damage, and from 1.8 they deliver additional bonus to shields. I don't think the bonus is enough if it takes this many axes to go through a shield. When it comes to tanking projectiles, the Oathsworn brings a iron reinforced island large shield. On paper this shield looks not too bad, but until you realize that its length is only 70 apparently, and there are gaps that allow for head or arm shots, yeah, this piece of equipment is not the greatest shield for infantry. It just exposes too much of the unit, especially from side shots. Just for comparison, one of the best shields for blocking projectiles has 110 length, 36% longer. The Oathsworn does come with a steel-tipped hook spear that can spear brace too. Remember though, when you want to make your unit brace, you have to tell them to hold fire, or this will happen. As it stands right now, spears still need a lot of work to be effective, so I wouldn't consider them a plus until Tailwords finds a way to make them work better.
Warriors!
The sidearm of the Oathsworn is a pretty decent one-handed bearded axe. The weapon has all of what you need on an infantryman, short, fast, and deals a good amount of damage. Talking about the armor, the Oathsworn has 62 body armor, split between the luxury brigandine and the reinforced harness with cape, enough to make the Oathsworn rank 3rd in body rankings. Very similar to his battle brother, the Oathsworn also lacks head armor, with an average value of 36, split between the rigged helm and the rough scale helmet. This places the Oathsworn in 7th place in the head armor rankings, just above the Wildling by 11 points. When it comes to the combined value of head plus body, the Oathsworn ranks middle of the pack at 4th, but falling 1 place to number 5 when we consider all armor types. Now let's talk about the important stats, the melee efficiency. After all, everything we want from our infantrymen is to be nasty and take the enemies down. The Oathsworns ended up with a KD ratio of 4.45. ranking them 6th across shielded infantry. Versus tier 1, the Oathsworn didn't start well, racking up 435 kills and losing 3 soldiers. A KD ratio of 146, and the 3 casualties ended up being 0.5% of the total, combining for 6th place. Versus tier 2, the Oathsworns again didn't do well when compared to others, killing 443 and losing 16, a KD ratio of 28 rounded up. The 16 losses ended up accounting for 2.6% of the total casualties, and this time the unit ranked 7. Versus tier 2 militia, the Oathsworn got 491 kills and lost 7 troops. A KD ratio of 70. The 7 lost troops counted for 1.1% of the total casualties. The unit ranked 6th. Versus tier 3, the Oathsworns got 430 kills and lost 22 units, a KD ratio of 20 rounded up. The 22 lost troops counted for 3.5% of the total casualties. This was surprisingly good for the unit, as it ranked 4th across all participants. Versus tier 3 militia, the Oathsworn got 365 kills and lost 12 units, a KD ratio of 30. The 12 lost troops counted for 1.9% of the total casualties. Another decent result, placing the Oathsworn 4th. Versus tier 4, the Oathsworns got 400 kills and lost 97 units, a KD ratio of 4. The 97 lost troops counted for 15.6% of the total casualties, placing the Oathsworn in another 4th place. And lastly, versus tier 5, the Oathsworns got 209 kills and lost 430 units, a KD ratio of 0.5. The 430 casualties ended up being 74 4.8% of the total, placing the Oathsworn 5th. Overall, the Oathsworn ranks 6th in KD across all tests, with a score of 4.45, ended up losing 623 units out of 3,500, or roughly 18%, placing them 7th, ended up with a score versus low tiers of 9.63%, placing them 7th, and ended the careers of 2,775 custom battle soldiers. There are a few upsides to this unit and many downsides. It's a unit that does struggle way more than its competitors against low tiers, but seems to pick up steam against mid to high tiers. The versatility is decent with one set of throwing axes, but not quite enough to make a real impact. The body armor of the unit is solid, but the head is lackluster. Combine that with a weird shaped shield that allows for arrows to bypass him more frequently than other infantrymen, and you can't even rely on these guys to tank incoming volleys too well. The sidearm is nice, as it has all of what I look for in a one-handed weapon: fast, short, and decent damage, but a few good pieces mixed with a lot of questionable ones doesn't make for a good unit. I'd give the Oathsworn a 1.5 out of 5. Let me know what you guys think and what troop you want me to cover next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.